Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello dear students of class 9 and 10. How are you all? I wish you all are very fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. And yes, I am also absolutely right by the mercy of our Almighty Creator. Dear students, in our last class, we have discussed about what is tag questions. How do we use tag question? The main features of tag question and some rules of it. And today we will discuss about the latest rules of tag questions. So, dear students, be ready with your pen, paper and enjoy our to discuss very carefully. Dear students, let's have a look on board. Rule number 5. When main verb is have, has, had or need, we should use do does as auxiliary verb in present tense and did in past tense. Okay, dear students, we know that have, has, had, need. These are auxiliary verbs, but sometimes it used as main verb. That's why we have to careful to identify that whether it is auxiliary verb or main verb. So look at the board and see, notice the examples. He has some books. So we here find has. But here has isn't auxiliary verb. Here has is main verb. That's why, and in present tense. That's why we use does. Because the sentence has subject he. He is third person and singular number. That's why we use does, not do. And this is a affirmative sentence. That's why we use not, doesn't, and subject he comes here, he. So, doesn't he? Then, he has finished the task. Has finished the task. In this sentence, has is an auxiliary verb. How we identify? Has. And after that, we find another verb, another main verb. That's why we realize that this is an auxiliary verb. So we use it to make tag question. Hasn't he? Hasn't he? Has comes from here, and this is a affirmative sentence. That's why we use not, and subject here comes. Hasn't he? Like that. He had some books, didn't he? This is a sentence in past tense. That's why we use auxiliary verb did. Okay. Then not and subject he. The later example, he had finished the task. He had finished the task. In this sentence, had is an auxiliary verb because we find another verb finished. That's why we use had, hadn't. Affirmative sentence, that's why we use negative form hadn't and subject he, hadn't he. Then the next one, I need a pencil to write with, don't I? Here, need is a main verb. Need is a main verb and this is in a present tense. That's why we use do and to make negative not don't. Subject I, here used I, don't I. Okay, then last one, I need to wait for an hour. Needn't I? Here, need is an auxiliary verb. how we realize? Dear students, notice need, and there is another main verb, wait. Wait, here wait is a main verb and need is an auxiliary verb. That's why we use need as auxiliary verb and negative for needn't. And subject I used here again, needn't I. Do you understand, my dear students? I think you understand. So, let's go rule number 6. If subject is plural, the pronoun of subject is always they. Okay? If subject is plural, we should use pronoun they. Let's have a look in the examples. The books are very interesting, aren't they? Here subject is the books, not only one book. Subject is books, 2, 3, 4 or 5 or more than that. So subject is plural. That's why we use they. And we find here auxiliary verb are. We use are. This is a affirmative sentence. That's why we use not, aren't, and subject plural. So we use they. Aren't they? Dear students, you should remember that somebody, someone, everybody, everyone, nobody, no one, none. These all are plural. These all are plural. That's why we use they. We also may use anybody. We also may use anybody. They or anybody, and we may tag question with the use of they, also anybody. For an example, nobody loves a liar. Nobody loves a liar. So, nobody. Nobody. If any sentence has nobody, we should use they. So, they. Here, verb, but here this sentence is in present tense. And verb, with verb we find as. That's why we may use does. But subject is they. They don't accept the auxiliary verb does. That's why we use do. We use do. So, do they? This is a negative sentence. This is a negative sentence. That's why we use only do, not don't. We use do. Do they? Dear students, we also may it tag by using anybody. Notice, nobody loves a liar. Does anybody? If we use anybody as subject, in that case, we obviously use auxiliary does. Anybody use auxiliary does, not do. Okay? Then the next one. 7. If subject is singular, the pronoun of subject is always it. Okay? Nothing can do without hard work. Nothing. Nothing is a singular subject. Nothing is a singular subject, so we use it. And here we find the modal auxiliary can. This is a negative sentence. That's why we use can, and subject nothing, pronoun is it, can it. You should remember nothing, something, anything, everything, any kind of thing. When you find any kind of thing as your subject, In that case, you use pronoun it. Okay? Then, rule number 8. The words few, bit, never, hardly, scarcely, barely, rarely, seldom, no sooner, nobody, none, no one, nothing, without are negative words. So, the tag should be affirmative. Dear students, you must memorize these words. These words, though these words haven't any no or not in it, but the meaning gives negative. These are negative words. That's why if any sentence have such a word, we regard that sentence as negative. So the tag quotient must be in positive. Let's have an example. There is little water in Buri Ganga. Okay? Here we find auxiliary verb is. So we use is. This is a negative sentence because this sentence have the word little. Little. This is a negative word. So is and subject is there. Subject is there. So is there. Then the next one, he hardly loves her. He hardly loves her. Here we find subject is in third person singular number. That's why we use does. We use does. And we also find hardly, the negative word in it. That's why we don't use not. We only use the subject he. Does he? Okay, dear students, last one. Rule number 9. Rule number 9. In imperative sentence, we use aren't. Aren't you in case of invitation. If imperative sentence gives the meaning of invitation, in that case, we only use aren't. Nothing other, only aren't. Let's have an example. Sit down. Aren't you? Have a cup of tea. Aren't you? These two sentences gives an invitation to anybody. Okay? That's why we use only aren't, not anything else. My dear students, I think you understood. Dear students, I think if you have any confusion about my today's class, please contact with me. And you should practice it again and again at your home. So, dear students, practice more and more, because without practice, you can't do any work. Practice makes a man perfect. So, dear students, that's all for today, and now I want to say you goodbye. Before leaving, I would give you a short message. Dear students, try to stay at your home. If you have the necessity to go outside at your home, please wear a mask and to have a small hand sanitizer and use it whenever you need. So, goodbye my dear students. Allah Hafiz.